Everything
How
is
you doing, my man? How you
good.
doing?
Really good, really good.
I've been looking forward to chatting with you, brother.
Cool, cool. Me too. You know?
I'm a bit of in just coming out of being under the weather, so
Wow.
I've got my my tea and stuff like that. But I just wanted to make sure that I did not miss this. So, how's your day going?
Pretty good. I just did an interview. I just got done with it about 5 minutes ago and just keeps on rolling on, one after another,
I
So,
love it. I love it, man. I love it.
yep, yep. If we could pick up like any amount of fans just to bring them to you, I accomplished something.
Oh, I just appreciate you taking the time, brother. Thank you. It
Yep,
means a lot.
no problem. First, congratulations on Redline.
Thank you, man. Thank you
Amazing
very much.
song, cool video.
Thank
Um,
you.
uh, really pumped me up. But like, it's funny that when I get to hear a song, I have my wife listen to it after me, right?
Well, you should do it. You should have your wife listen to it first because you already know what the.
Yeah, well, she loved
I
it.
grew up with all girls, so it's like the
Yeah,
boss.
yeah, yeah. So she loved it. So I'm happy. I'm
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you taking the time. It means a lot to me and our
cool,
band.
cool. Now, in the beginning stage of your career, you started around what, 2007 or maybe before?
Well, I've been performing since I was a little kid.
Right.
That's a long story there. We don't need to be going into the history of that. But yeah, no, I've been performing since I was probably 6 or 7 years old, singing on stage. And first band, I was 13 years old and did all the, early touring and stuff like that, one of my 20s and stuff like that. And then, yeah, Jet Black Stare in 2007. I think that's when I hit the kind of the world stage, I guess you could say,
Right. Yeah.
with Jet Black Stare. And we had a lot of fun, that's for sure.
Cool.
Great team.
And
Great
that
team.
was an album or a single on Breathing.
No, that was ready to roll. We were with Island Def Jam.
Right.
So yeah, we signed the deal in 2007 with Island Def Jam, and then we hit the road, like really hit the road with Three Doors Down, Hinder and Stain, that big summer tour.
Cool.
So I became good friends with all of them. And then of course our manager, Chief, at the time, who is now Nickelback's manager, but at the time was tour manager for Nickelback, was managing Hinder.
Wow.
So the boys in Hinder, they're our family, right? And so they took us in, put us under their wing, so to speak, and showed us the ropes. And
Right.
we learned a lot touring with those guys, and of course, just amazing, amazing people in general.
Cool. Cool. Hinder's a good guy. That band. I got to see him in New York City, and
Oh yeah.
hung out backstage with them and stuff like that. And great guys. Great guys.
Hmm.
Really appreciate.
They're down to earth. Yeah, they took us under their wing. Well, they all did actually. All the boys, with Stained and obviously Aaron, a really nice guy. And I can't say thank you enough.
Cool. Cool.
We learned a lot, that's for sure.
Right. Right. So, what's the biggest accomplishment so far in your career in music?
But in music, well, I guess the signing of the record deal with Island, because that was
Right.
quite the story. I used to work in the stock market, and and everybody thought it was crazy when I said I'm quitting the stock market game and I'm going to focus, because I was taking all my money from from investor relations, working with brokers and stuff.
Right.
Back then I was making pretty good money, and I took it all, literally all of it, paid my rent, paid for the little bills and stuff, and the rest went right back into recording.
Right.
Anytime I wrote a song or worked with somebody, right away I made sure there was money there to record. So the accomplishment, I guess, would have been signing to Island Records, just because you kind of jump without a net. That's kind of my bloodline in my family. So everybody thought I was pretty crazy for doing something like that, but it kind of worked out, and met some amazing people, and still meeting amazing people along the way.
Oh, cool. What would you recommend a new band trying to break into music? What would recommendations, for a new band?
Oh, that's easy. Right from the heart, like from the heart.
Right.
Don't try to think about what's on the charts. Don't think about chasing someone else's band or whatever they're doing. Everybody's got a different journey in life, but also in music, obviously. And just be true to yourself. And every artist in that band's got to love what they do, because if one member in that band, or if it's a solo artist, depending on the situation, that can stop things, the movement, real quick.
Right.
I'm an energy person, so I don't know what you've researched and stuff, but I'm very spiritually driven when it comes to
Right.
music. Very spiritually driven.
in your younger years, what music did you listen to?
Oh, well, okay. So I grew up in a rodeo family.
Right.
Believe it or not, I come from a whole rodeo family. You'd never believe it when you see me, but my dad was a rodeo rider and stuff. So we grew up with like the Johnny Cash, the Patsy Cline. Like we
Right.
listened to all that stuff. But when I got into AC/DC, that was it for me. I think I was 9 years old and I heard AC/DC for the first time, and I was like, my dad's like, uh-oh. My
Uh,
dad was a guitar player, so he had downstairs chicken picking and all that kind of stuff, right?
right.
And
Yeah.
here I bring in AC/DC, and he's like, oh boy. And so I've always just fascinated by both the genres. But AC/DC, I would say, was the one that kicked it all into high gear for me.
Right. Yeah. Wow. Wow. Tell me what you're feeling about like everybody want to have vinyl now.
Oh, vinyl. That's a given to me. I mean, there's nothing that beats vinyl.
Right.
Let's just think about it. How many people go to parties and someone says, "Hey, I've got a record player."
Right.
Where does everybody go? They're going to go from, CDs are great and tapes. That's
Right.
great. Actually, no, tapes are cool because there's cool nostalgia thing going on there. A lot of cool bands, with their EPs and stuff like that. Motley Crue, Livewire was on a little cassette. You know what I mean? And all these kind of cool things. But when it comes to sound quality and just being in the moment, vinyl, you can't beat vinyl. With that crackly, you just feel like you're right there with the band. Yeah, I love vinyl, and we'll be putting out lots of it. So we're excited about that.
Cool, 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 cool. Did you collect anything as a young kid?
Hockey cards, and now I wish I would have kept them.
It worked.
Let's just face it, you can buy houses now. People are buying, right?
Yeah.
Buying cars because I had a hockey collection. Me, I was more concerned on just, you put them in your BMX bike.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I probably had a Gretzky card in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I apologize if my voice is a little, but I'm just getting over a cold.
Okay.
But sorry, but I got my tea. So, but yeah, no, hockey cards was probably the big thing for me. I don't know how much time we have here, but I can tell you a funny story about collecting things. So my dad, guitar player, so he had all the guitars. He had really nice guitars. But when you're a kid, you don't realize what you have, right? Around you. And so my dad had some really nice guitars. He had a 72 Gibson Les Paul, black, and it was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So he goes, son, you need to play. You need to learn how to play guitar. And I was really young. And I said, no, Dad, I just want to sing. He's like, no, you've got all the guitars here. He bought me a drum kit. That lasted one day. Although my favorite member in a band, the drummer. I always wanted to be a drummer. I have so much respect for a drummer. Well, every member in the band, obviously, but the drummer, to me, you don't have a solid drummer and a rock foundation, you have nothing. Because that's what I feed off of, right? And so when I was a kid, I always wanted to be a drummer, and that didn't last very long. But anyway, so my buddy, I wasn't really into video games, but there was just one video game that I really, really liked, and he was on. I can't remember what he had, what kind of I don't know what it was. It was a game unit thing, and he said, "Oh yeah," he goes, I'm getting another one for my birthday, and I've got this one," and I'm like, "Oh," I said, "Well, maybe we can make a trade." And he was like, "Oh," he goes, "Well, I've always wanted to learn how to play guitar, and your dad has lots of guitars." And I'm like, "Well, my dad just gave me this guitar. Do you want to make it?"
Wow.
I'm not joking.
Yeah.
I traded a 72 Black Les Paul
right.
for this video game console. So I was all excited because I wanted to show my dad, say, hey, Dad, check what I did. I did because my dad was always about pay it forward and bartering and all, that kind of stuff, right? I'm like, Dad, you'd be so proud. I didn't really want the guitar there because he's got so many of them. So I'm not thinking value. I'm just thinking he's got so many.
Yeah.
My dad, as honest as he is, it hurt him because he's like, that was supposed to be mine, right? And he knew the value of a Les Paul, but also he also was kind of the man of his word, so to speak. So he was like, son, you learned a valuable lesson, and one day you're going to really see what valuable lesson you learned. And so, we got some jokes out of that one as I got older, but at that moment, but he never went back and said, you need to go get that guitar back. He never, not even called the parents or anything like that.
Wow.
So I don't know where that guitar is to this day, but I'm telling you, that was something I'll never forget.
Yeah. Wow. What was your best hockey card you had?
Coffee. Paul Coffey. That's my favorite hockey player.
Wow.
Yeah. I played hockey too, right, Brian? So, I played defense, and and then I blew up my knee. I was in the summertime. I was BMX racing or practicing on the track, I should say. and I wiped out. Another guy hit me, and we were in midair, and the pedal hit on my knee, and my kneecap came. That's a long story. But yeah, so I was like, well, do I go back and try to fix this injury because I wouldn't be able to play that season.
Right.
And so I had to make a hard decision there. But y'all know I love hockey. Oh, that's for sure.
I know I collected all the sports, so because I got 3 little nephews at the time, which I had custody of.
Yeah.
So like I took them all over the place. So anything. My favorite was Pavel Bure and also Yager.
Oh, nice. Good
Right,
call. Yeah.
right. So they were
Yager is still playing, I do believe. He's in the Russian league now, I do believe. Or not, I can't remember. He's in the IH or he's overseas, but I
right.
think he might be doing some coaching or whatever too. But that guy is, yeah, he's got a lot of heart, that's for sure.
Cool,
Because
cool.
he's still playing.
Wow, wow.
Yeah,
I was
maybe not NHL pro level right now, but
right.
He's still out there playing.
It was wild because I was trading people in Russia for the Russian printings of the cards and stuff like that, and they wanted.
No.
Yeah, I still got everything too. Pretty
You
cool.
know, well, we got to talk off the record because I've got a friend who's got I didn't realize hockey cards now
Right.
are just as important as they were back then. Like there's a whole thing going on right now. Like there's conventions and everything because my buddies go to them and another guy has a shop and I'm like, wow, it's incredible. And I'm just like, wow, wish I would have kept my cards. But that's okay. But it's pretty funny.
Yeah, I know there's a site that sends me stuff on Facebook that weekly they tell you what cards are going up, what cards are going down, the values of them. Yeah, and like I'm like reading everything now, you know.
That's amazing. That's amazing. You know what? Okay, so baseball cards.
Right.
Big, right?
Right.
But did football cards? I don't think that is even a really a thing, right? Like how did football, NFL? I'm a big NFL football guy, right? So yeah, so why didn't that work? Like think about that, right? Like think about that sport.
Yeah, I don't think the value of football cards mastered the baseball or the hockey.
No, baseball I think would probably be. Yeah, I see what you're saying. You can have either or, right? And baseball, it's so high up, right? And such a they call it what the America's game, right?
Yeah, right.
Is that right? So where NFL is still America's game in a sense, but it just doesn't have the pedigree, if you will, with the cards and stuff like that. I'm surprised that didn't catch on a little, but anyway, that's a different conversation. You and I could talk off the record, talk cards all day long.
Cool. Are you working on new material now with the band?
Yeah. I'm well, as you know, with Redline, it's put out for men's mental health and wellness. It's something that's very, very important to me. So I'm always songwriting, always, every day. I'm constantly writing, and I've written a couple more songs that are going to be for men's mental health as well. A very important cause for me. Like I said, it's a very spiritual journey for me. So a lot of these songs, whether they're going to be for Blacklisted or for something else, it's all a part of it.
Right.
But yeah, we've definitely got a lot of material coming out very soon for Blacklisted. So we're very, very thankful for that.
Cool. Tell me about each member of the band and what's your relationship with them.
Okay, how much time do you got? Do you want to hear a rock and roll story? This is the funniest thing.
Minutes.
Okay, so I don't know if it's Sean told you. Okay, so long story short, when I was 19 years old, I flatlined. Okay, I'm sure we'll have a different conversation off the record on that one, but it changed my life forever. It like literally changed my life forever. And then I was in a horrific car accident with no seatbelt in the back seat. There's no way I should have survived that, but I did, and I was very fortunate for that. So at 19, you could imagine the kind of wake-up call that is. Now I've got my music going, all that kind of stuff, but I'm going through changes, and that's a different even different conversation there. But I always had this vision of I'm a big Motley Crue guy.
Right.
Yeah, I love the Crue. There's something about them. We're not a big party band ourselves, but we always pay respect to those bands, right? Today, it's not like it used to be. When I always say, this isn't Motley Crue, you know what I mean? Because those days of the partying and all that kind of stuff like that, right? It's more of you physically can't endure that. You know what I mean? With the road schedule and all that kind of stuff. But what I'm getting at is, so I had this vision of putting this band together. Now I did it a lot different than a lot of people did. Usually guys would audition musicians and all that kind of stuff. What I did is I kicked some tires throughout North America. And I had certain guys that I was very, very interested in working with, but unfortunately they were with other bands, and I didn't want to poach anybody.
Right.
So I was like, okay, how do I approach this? I said, I've got these guys. So what I did is a friend of mine, well, it started with the drummer.
Right.
Well, actually, it started with the bass player, but that's a different story because we've known each other, and I'll get to that. That's Ace, my business partner. But what happened was a very good friend of mine invited me out, and we went to this country bar, right? And I'm like, okay, we'll go to this country bar, and I meet this guy named Brett. And right away when I saw him, well, him and I, we look like we're brothers in a sense, right? We're all in black, you know what I mean? These guys, everybody's in cowboy hats, and him and I just look like we came out of somewhere else, right? Maybe LA or Hollywood. So we're sitting there talking, whatever, but just to jump back. So when I first saw him, I pointed at him and I said, "There's my guy," and he kind of like looked at me. He's like, "Damn right." So it's kind of a joke. Never met me before.
Wow.
Okay, but I knew there was just a connection, and again, it's a spiritual thing for me. I just knew there was something about this guy. So we started talking. We go out to this country bar, and he said, "Everybody's looking at us, man." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, we look like we're in a rock band," and we're joking around. And he kind of looks at me and he's like, "So we're going to be in a band together?" And I'm like, "Yeah, damn right." You know, as a kind of a joke. So right away we had this brotherhood connection. Now I knew he was talented. That was a given, right? But that's not what I was concerned. I was more about the soul connection, and him and I had it automatically. And I told him my vision of this rock band and stuff, and found out, you know, who he's interested in. He's very, very busy. He's got his own business. Him and his dad do very well, lighting production, all that kind of stuff. So I said, listen, I want to put this project together. And I also want to be respectful if other people have different bands that they're in or whatever the case is, right? But if someone wants to join this band full time, great. If not, whatever the case is. But I said, there's something about you and whatever. So I called Ace up, told him about this drummer. Ace and I've known each other. He met me at a show that I was doing a long, long time ago, came up to me after the show through a drummer friend of his, Mel. And we hung out all night and we just talked about music. And I remember him and I talking about music, and it wasn't talking about the glam of music. It was more the spiritual. And I was like, oh, I like this guy. We connect. Yeah. So we always stayed in contact. Ironically, he's my business partner. He's also the bass player in the band. So then now the guitarist is very interesting because a girlfriend of mine was telling me about her ex-husband, and she's a solid girl. She's like an angel. And we were chatting all the time. She goes, "You got to meet Craig. You got to meet Craig." And I'm like, okay. Now here's where it's funny. She goes, sends him some of my music because I had a country career, right? Because I did it for my dad before he passed. A long story, kind of a tribute to the rodeo family. And so she sends him all my country stuff. And so we get on the phone. He's like, "Man, I'm really digging your country stuff." I'm like, "Oh, Craig, no, dude. I'm going back to rock. I always made a deal with my dad. I go back to rock at the right time." And he's like, "Oh, I love this story." Now, keep in mind, I've seen clips of him playing guitar, right? And he's like, "Yeah." He goes, "But I know you've seen me playing guitar." He goes, "But I'm actually a drummer. I've got like awards and all that kind of stuff, and like, you know, locally." And I'm like, "Well, that's cool." I said, "But we already got a drummer." And he's like, "Okay." So we had this great conversation. I said, "You know what? I'm going to come out and see you." And he's like, "What?" I'm like, "I want to meet you." He's like, "Okay." So I go to his place, and we hug. And right away we looked at each other like we'd known each other forever. That night we started writing a bunch of songs. He played all the songs that I sent him, all the rock songs, like perfect. And I'm like, "How long you had these songs for?" "Oh man, I'm just jamming along to him." And I'm like, "Geez, man, well, do you want to be in this band?" Like it was like that. And that's how it was. It kind of, the universe in a sense helped me put this band together. And that's not to mention our management team, which is even crazier how that is coming together. But what I'm getting at, it was a different way of putting a band together. It was based on intuition. I just believed that there was the call on the phone with Craig, the meeting Brett face to face, and obviously Ace meeting him at a show many, many years ago, and back in 2008, I guess it was, when we were at the Commodore, to bring us where we are right now. It's a pretty special thing. And the feedback's been really good. And I really, you know, believe in, you know, when you put good people together that are all on the same page. Remember I was telling this earlier in the little story, is that it's very important that everybody's on the same page. We all walked into rehearsal. No one walked in going, "Hey man, like, you know, where are we going to go party next?" Wait, you know what I mean? Everything in moderation. Don't get me wrong. We like to have fun, but everything, we were there. And now you put 4 guys in a room that have never jammed together. They all just learning the songs. And then we bring in the 5th member, who's our sound guy. And I call him our 5th member because the guy is a machine. Like, and we're looking at each other going, wow, we got something special here, boys. And we all felt it. And we all just had fun, and we can't wait to show the audiences and travel and we just, yeah, it's been a pretty cool journey thus far, and just great souls and extremely talented individuals.
Did you ever get to see Motley live?
Sorry, pardon me?
Did you get to see Motley Crue live?
Yes, I did. I got to see Motley Crue, Def Leppard, and Joan Jett and Poison.
Wow.
Yeah,
What-
I got to see it, and I got to see Joan Jett, and I was blown away, blown away by Joan Jett. She's absolutely amazing, and the
Still is,
whole it's still amazing. And Motley Crue is Motley Crue.
right?
Motley Crue still puts on a show. They never stop doing that, and that's a band that you kind of look up to and just say, you know what? Look how long they've been doing this, and they love what they're doing and having fun, and that's all that matters at the end of the day, right? Because the audience feeds off that, right? If you're having fun, the audience is having fun. If you're worried about your everyday, stuff, leave it off to the side. You got a show to put on, and that's one thing about Motley Crue. They put on the show, that's for sure. And all the other bands too. It was an amazing night that night.
Well, on the side, I was a concert photographer, and I worked for a magazine at that time, and I got to shoot Shout Out the Devil tour.
No way.
Yeah, I'll send you over some pictures.
Wow.
Yeah, I still got my ticket. I think it was 1985.
Oh, see, I never got to see Motley Crue in the early. I never did, right?
Yeah.
And then there was times when we were on tour, we're like, oh, Crue's here, and it just didn't work out. And it just happened to be a friend of mine who's a radio guy said, listen, I've got a couple tickets in Vancouver. I was in Kelowna at the time. He goes, if you'll go to Vancouver, I got a couple tickets for you for Motley Crue. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, this is amazing. And to see that many artists of that caliber on the same bill, Def Leppard, I mean, it was incredible. Yeah. But anyway, back to your photography. I apologize. How did you get into the photography? Because you're doing the podcast now.
Right.
So you're still doing photography, obviously.
I got my own site. We've been going around since 2005. Actually, I work for a British magazine called Metal Forces Magazine, and I got the job because their writer who lives in the UK came to the United States, but he wasn't a photographer. He was a writer. So he needed a helper.
No way.
Pictures, and that's how it worked out.
Oh, I love it.
Right?
I'm inspired by other people's stories. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So it wasn't by fluke that happened. Because all that experience you had, you were ready for that moment.
Right.
And big moment. Like a big moment.
Yeah. I mean, I got to shoot Metallica on the Monsters of Rock tour back I don't even remember. And Justice for All it was, the tour. And I got to photograph that, and that was outside. So it was really cool because James had the long hair, and behind him was just a blue sky. So it was an outdoor show, and they came out amazing. I was so happy, So
that's amazing. Yeah, I've seen Metallica, and I saw Godsmack. Sully was on the drums. That blew me away.
Wow.
I'm like, he plays like it just was wow, that was amazing. Yeah. Well, that's great, man. I can't wait to see your photos. I bet you have some amazing photos.
So tell me what it's like when a young kid or anybody comes up to you and asks for an autograph now.
I just laugh. Well, no, I shouldn't say I laugh. I just go, really? Like, you know what I mean? I no, I'll do it, obviously, right? But the thing of it is like one thing, as you get, you've been like, we've been in this game for quite a while and stuff like that, right? And you got to think of what it would be like to have the reverse roles.
Right.
You're asking that person for an autograph. You don't want just the autograph thing. It's tough because there's, depending on the show and how many people at the merch booth, how much time you have there. But I like to have at least a conversation. Like, what do you do for work? Or what do you do? Because that's going to be more important to that person.
Right.
That you actually took the time to have a conversation with them, whether it's a couple minutes or not, then just sign and see ya, see ya.
Yeah.
I like the connection. And again, that goes back to the spiritual journey that I'm on, right? So it's very important that time that I have, whether it's a minute or 30 seconds or whatever, I want it to be very valuable because that person might be inspired to do something else, right? When they're maybe talking to somebody else, give them a little bit more time. Then like, okay, I'm busy, but you know what? That person deserves just as much attention. And so that's the way I was raised, right? So yeah, but I still kind of laugh it off a bit and go, oh, are you sure? or
Yeah.
I'll get their autograph, right?
Yeah.
You know, it depends. If you see them in a bad day or something like that, and they're just kind of
Yeah.
like, you know, and they're kind of like, hey, I want your autograph, right?
Yeah.
Reverse it, right? Get a smile and stuff like that. But yeah, to me, it's kind of like, I appreciate it, but it's,
Right.
I don't know, I don't really take myself serious sometimes, I think.
Cool,
I just
cool.
kind of, you know, go with it.
Right. What's your feeling about meet and greets and fans have to pay for it?
Well, I don't know. I think with the acoustic performances and stuff like that on the bus and stuff like that,
Right.
it's a different situation.
Uh-huh.
Is that what you're talking about? Or are you talking
Yeah.
about the meet and greets at the show?
At the show, like before the show comes, you could do a meet and greet, but you got to pay, to get into it and stuff like that, not including the ticket for the show.
Yeah, we have, and I'm just being honest with you, we haven't got to that yet.
Right.
We're looking at it a little different. We want to, if there's going to be a cost, say, to come on the bus and we do acoustic little performance after the show or something like that, they're going to gain a lot. There's going to be merch. There's going to be a lot of value that they're going to get. Not just see that it sat there,
Right.
you know what I mean, where they could do that at the show. We want the connection, right? So everybody is different. We haven't come across that. It's something we have talked about because we do want to make sure there's value and everything. But that's kind of we just haven't come across it yet. But as far as the acoustic performances, yeah, we're trying to work it so it's very inexpensive, but what they get for that is pretty amazing, right? Because we want to build the friendships. I don't like the word fans. We're more like friendships and stuff like that, because that's really what you're building, right? It's solid friendships along the way, and that's what I look forward to doing again.
Cool, cool. And tell me a little bit about your merch and where people could get it.
Okay, the merch. Okay, so if you go to amalienrecords.com, right now we're just moving Black Lysted Official over. And I'm not a tech guy, that's Ace's world, but it takes a couple days. So if someone wants to click right now, per se, but then depending on when is this live right now? I wasn't too sure if it's live.
No.
Oh, so you're gonna post it. So we're gonna go, yeah. So by that time it'll be blacklistedofficial.com.
Cool.
Because then the next couple days, it's just going this server, all that kind of stuff is just moving over. So it'll be blacklistedofficial.com, and you can buy the merch there. There's some meet and greets on the bus, acoustic performances, lots of giveaways. We talked about that. There's got to be a lot more giveaways because that's really important.
Cool. Now with Redline being so popular and a lot of people liking it, do people start to ask, when the album's coming out?
Yeah, it is a very new song, right? Like we haven't even really, it goes out on August 30th officially, right? We just put out the lyric video. So it's kind of catching us off a little bit because we haven't really done the big promotion yet, right? We're kind of just getting it out there. But the feedback has been, what else do you guys got? We're excited and all that kind of stuff. And as far as the album, we're going to go with Redline as the title, it looks like. So, because everything's to do for me and the band, and we've all agreed on that. There's going to be a lot of stuff to do with men's mental health and wellness. Very, very important. So Redline right now is the focus on that. But, there'll be a new album. There'll be an album. We've got enough songs for the album, but we're always in the studio writing and stuff like that. So things can change a little bit there too. But we'll definitely be putting out an EP for sure.
And that looks pretty cool. Like, I don't know if that's going to be the cover of the album, but like the press release that was sent to me, the cover looked pretty good,
Well, thank you. Are you talking about the live? Live one? Yeah. That was kind of because we're all big Motley Crue guys.
Right.
And we wanted to have that, we can have, we have our photos, right? But we wanted to have more of that. This is what we are like live. Right. And and hopefully feel the energy from the picture, and that's what we are. It's a show, and that's really important to us, right? Especially the bands that we all look up to and all that kind of stuff, and our peers. We want to bring it every night, something like that. We wanted to have that in the first time people seeing Black Lysted, we wanted that to be out there.
Right. Cool.
That's what they're gonna get. You know what I mean?
Right. What's your feeling about touring? You like it?
I love it. I absolutely love it. Yeah, I love it. It's meeting different souls and different energies and being inspired and riding on the bus because you just got inspired by this or whatever. You need to have that. I think touring is so important these days. Yeah, it's great to put songs out and stuff like that, but I think that the audience connection, especially with rock right now,
Right.
is hugely on a comeback. And not that it ever really went away, because there's
Right.
a lot of bands out there that kept that going. But right now, it's more important than ever, I think, to tour, to connect with people, and bring some light, light to the show, if you will, on a positive note.
Is there anything special you eat when you're on tour?
Well, okay, it's funny you say that. Okay, so we all have our thing. We're all very healthy oriented, or we try our best, right? So Ace is cooking on the bus, which we've got, and I do a little cooking. You know, I cooked for 6 years and stuff like that, but primarily he's the one who's in charge of that, right? I'll do clean up dishes and stuff like that, whatever, right? It's kind of funny. But yeah, it's fairly healthy eating. You
Right.
know, there's some nights are going to be a little harder than others, right, to get to, but yeah, we go with the full on, you know, got to take care of the tempo, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely a lot of healthy eating and stuff like that. Very, very important.
Oh, cool. How can fans contact you or other members in the band?
I would just say go to the blacklistedofficial.com. Everything is there.
Right.
And then we've got, you know, our sponsors on there. I can't thank them enough. You know, so there's some sponsors on there. And then, of course, Men's Mental Health and Wellness. We've got both He Changed It and Day One Dads, an organization I'm very much attached to, on there. So you can read about that, all that kind of stuff too. So everything is at that hub, blacklistedofficial.com.
What would a dream come true for this band for you?
Would be a dream come true?
Yeah, for you with this band.
With this band? I think, well, I would love to go to the UK. I have never been there. I've got family and friends over there.
Right.
To bring Blacklisted overseas, I think would be pretty amazing. We've met a lot of people. Ace was in a previous band. He's done the big tours and all that stuff like that. So he's looking forward to getting back out there. We've toured, both of us, and have toured the US twice over now, right? Kind of in a sense, right?
Right.
And a lot of fun. And we can't wait to hit the US again. But the UK, I think it would just be something that because none of us have got to go. Well, he goes over there obviously with his projects and stuff, but for Blacklisted, we haven't gone over there yet. And I think that would be a cool little dream come true. Just because I got family and friends over there and stuff that are always messaging us, when are you coming over? And just to be able to say, hey, you know what? You're VIP, you're hanging with us. We got this many shows here. We're in Germany here, we're in whatever. I think that would be really cool, because then it becomes a bit of a dream come true for a lot of us, right? Not just one individual.
Well, Rod, it was great talking to you, and I love the song Redline. I hope everybody
Thank you.
supports it, and you know, we'll push as much as we can on that. And
appreciate it. How much
thanks
time do we got? How much time do we got?
about 5 minutes.
Perfect. Tell me how you got into this. Because would the photography start it, or did you have this because you're a natural?
It's a funny story, because I took photography in school.
Yeah.
But as you probably know, in school, mentally, you have what you want to do, not what they want to do, right? That's why people fail, because the teacher wants you to do this. And I said, no, I don't want to do, I want to do concert pictures.
Yeah.
No, I want texture. I want you to do texture. What the hell's texture? Right?
Yeah.
I took a picture of cement. That's texture, right?
Yeah. Yes. Smart.
I flunked photography, right? Because I didn't want to do what they wanted me to do.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? So same thing musically. If a record company, you know, going to lay out a little bit of money, they're going to say, well, I want this. And you say, no, I don't want that. I want this.
You got to be true. You got to be true to yourself. Oh, you know, I love it.
So that's what I did. And I just, you know, in the early days, you know, you sneaking the camera in and stuff like that until I got the break and with Metal Forces magazine. So
wow,
my friend came over here and he needed a photographer, and he asked me. And from there, you know, I had other photographers that were really my mentors, and a guy named Frank White, and he would be almost like my manager, because I wasn't running over to New York to bring my slides and stuff like that.
Yeah, true.
Do all the work. I mean, you know, he'll take a cut, which didn't bother me. Yeah. But my pictures are going in a magazine like Hit Parader and Circus magazine.
Unbelievable.
So like, my name will be on that picture in that magazine. Now I got paperback books with my covers on there and all kinds of stuff. A Metallica one I got on there, so I just got lucky.
Well, Brian, here's a question for you. Okay, maybe you've already done this. Do you have that picture, that one that you failed on?
Yeah.
Okay, you've got to do a post at some point.
Yeah.
This is where it starts.
Yeah.
With a fail.
Yeah.
This is where this is where it continued, and that's going to inspire a lot of people, because really, at the end of the day, you knew in your heart, right? I was a class clown in school. I questioned the teacher all the time, but I became friends with the teacher. They're like, "Oh, geez, he's going to ask another question." But that was who I was. That's the way my dad was very like, if you believe in yourself and you're really committed to your being, then it doesn't matter what anybody else is going to say. If you believe in yourself, and I love that story because that's inspirational. Because you didn't give up.
No, I didn't.
You could have easily said, you know what, that's it. I guess I didn't get the A, but you didn't, and look where you're at, and that's incredible. I love these stories.
Yeah. Very happy, very happy. And
buddy, that's amazing. You got to do that post though. That'll inspire a lot of people. It will, right? Think about that, because they can take that story and bring that to their life and what they're going through. We're always told we can't.
Yeah.
But what if it's like, well, that doesn't exist in my vocab. So where do you go from here? Well, I'm going to do what I got to do. If you think I can't, that's your world, and that's okay. Everybody's right to their opinion. But when you believe in yourself, nothing can stop you. And that is proof right there, what you just told me. I love it. Thank you for sharing, by the way.
No problem. Thanks a lot, and I appreciate the chat. Would you like to say anything to them fans out there?
I just can't wait to see everybody on the road, meet a bunch of people, shake some hands, and some big hugs to everybody. Love and light. Be good to each other. And Brian, thank you again for taking the time. And blacklistedofficial.com. You can see everything there. Come by, say hi to the boys. They're amazing guys, extremely talented, and a lot of cool things to share very soon. But Brian, thank you again. Really means a lot.
Thank you.
Okay. We need to talk more off. You and I are gonna.
Cool.
Brotherhood.
Right. See you later, man.
Okay, buddy. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.